So I find a lot of people are actually unaware of this neighborhood, unless maybe they grew up here. They've lived in Gilbert for a really long time. But this is a neighborhood, great location. You're walking distance to downtown Gilbert, actually, and it's a more of a boutique neighborhood. Only about 50 homes. They're all custom built, so they all look different. And the best part is there's a lot of greenery, a lot of trees here, so it doesn't even really feel like Arizona. And today we're talking about the Groves of Gilbert. And I'm Courtney Strelzik. I'm a local agent here in Gilbert. I live and work here. And my goal is to really show you the stuff that you aren't going to necessarily be able to find on Zillow. And, point out things that you probably want to know before putting in an offer in a home in this neighborhood. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please hit that button below. It helps me out a lot. And if you follow me at all or subscribe to me, you probably already know that Arizona, particularly the East Valley, or once you get further into the suburbs, we're kind of known to have a lot of cookie cutter neighborhoods. And this is one that's definitely not that. So a lot of the homes, they started building in the mid 80s and then they finished out the neighborhood in the mid 90s. So because of that, you've had time to allow the trees to mature, the landscaping to mature. So it just feels a lot more shaded than like a lot of newer neighborhoods or new developments that you'll see further southeast in the East Valley. And it's definitely a small, tight-knit community. And one of the best parts about it is there's no through streets. There's only one entrance to get in and out. And how it's set up is there's a lot of cul-de-sacs. So any traffic that you're going to be getting in this neighborhood, it's going to be the residents. It's going to be your neighbors. And you really are in a pretty convenient location or in the heart of Gilbert. Like I said, you're walking distance to downtown, but because there's only one entrance in and out, it's a very quiet neighborhood. And as far as walking to downtown, it probably take you 20 to 21 minutes. But the nice thing is you don't have to cross any major roads. There's sidewalks the entire way. And then also you have the canal trail, which is right outside the neighborhood too. So if you actually hop onto that, it'll spit you out right into Freestone Park. And that, honestly, if you walk it, it's probably about like a 10 to 15 minute walk, depending on how fast you walk. And if you haven't gotten your boots on the ground here, Gilbert is not a walkable city. So I would definitely say this is a very unique feature of this neighborhood. And as far as its general orientation in the Phoenix Metro Airport, you are, according to Google Maps, you're exactly 25 minutes to the airport, and that's without traffic. Central Phoenix, you're looking at 30 minutes. Old Town Scottsdale, a little over 25 minutes. And you also have several grocery stores. There's Trader Joe's, there's Fry's. Everything, or Sprouts is right around the corner too. So many options within a 5 to 10 minute drive. Santan Village, which is our main shopping center in Gilbert, that's only about 10 minutes as well. And then as far as like gyms and stuff, so you have Yoga Spot, which is actually about a mile away. That's actually a very, very popular yoga studio. And then you also have Lifetime Fitness, which is a really nice health club in Phoenix. There's a couple locations throughout the East Valley, actually. And then Freestone, the park I was just talking about that you can actually walk on the canal trail to, that actually has a rec center club. It's on the north side, so if you walk there, it'd probably be a little over 20 minutes, but still very easily accessible. And if you drove there, you could probably get there in like 3 to 4 minutes. Now, the lot sizes in this neighborhood are pretty nice as well. They're definitely larger than your average home in Gilbert. Most of them are going to be about 20,000 square feet or just a little under a half acre. And then not all of them, but most homes will have a pool. It's about 80% of homes in the neighborhood have pools. And then as far as size of the homes, they are larger homes. Most of them are going to be between 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. There was one home that sold this past year that was 6,000 square feet. But that was definitely more of the anomaly. I wouldn't say all of these homes are that size. And then another unique feature about this neighborhood is some of the homes actually do have basements, which is a very, very rare thing for Arizona. Our soil is very hard, so it's expensive to dig up. So we don't see that very commonly, but there are a few. The other thing too is if you're looking for a lot of garage spaces, great neighborhood. Just because the lots are bigger, the HOA does allow, with permission, they do allow ADUs such as like another garage or a casita. So there are several homes in the neighborhood that have 4-car garages. I've seen a lot of people, they've actually built an ADU or an RV garage. So if you have some toys or you have a lot of cars, definitely a great neighborhood. Now, one complaint I have heard from people in this neighborhood is, okay, so a lot of these homes were built in the 80s and 90s, and a lot of the homes are not updated. They still have that like original 80s aesthetic. Now, because they're custom home finishes, because they're custom homes, the finishes are quite nice and good quality. And a couple of the homes have been beautifully renovated and much more modern, but you'll also see a lot of homes where, it's a little outdated. But let's talk about the thing that everyone wants to know, pricing. So one thing to consider is because it's a smaller neighborhood, we don't see a lot of inventory. We haven't seen a lot of homes sell in the past year, but the ones that have sold in the past year, most of them have been a little over $1 million, between 1.1, 1.2. The one house that was 6,000 square feet that I mentioned, that one, it was fully renovated and it was a bigger home. That one sold for 1.6. So it's definitely the highest priced home that we've seen. And then there is one current active listing in the home. It's priced at 1.225. And something to keep in mind too, it's a larger home. You have to consider the location. It's a pretty prime location. And then the lot size is a little bit bigger here. So, that does explain the pricing and why we're in that $1 million range. Now, this neighborhood does have an HOA. It's currently, at the time of filming this, it's $107 monthly. It is paid annually. Now, there's not a lot of amenities, or there's no amenities, I should say, in this neighborhood. So that fee really just does pay for general maintenance in the neighborhood, the entrance in the neighborhood, and it is self-managed by residents that actually live here. It's not a third-party company that manages this HOA. Now, I did have one client that was their complaint about this neighborhood. They felt the HOA fee was quite high for not having like a clubhouse or a park. Definitely understand where they're coming from, but it really, really is a beautifully maintained neighborhood. If you drive through here, you'll definitely see what I'm saying. And then as far as schools, you are in the Gilbert School District. So it's Gilbert High School, Burke Elementary, and then Mesquite Junior High. And the high school is actually only about a mile away. It's pretty close. And as always, I recommend you guys do research on schools if that's important to you. Niche.com and greatschools.org are two great websites. Now, as far as inspections and some unique things to consider about the neighborhood, I want to bring up two things. The first thing is actually definitely get a sewer scope in this neighborhood. We have a lot of big trees, and the thing is because our soil is really hard here, the tree roots tend to spread wide instead of deep. And what happens is it actually can create a belly in the sewer line, and you don't want that back up in your house. It's a disaster, and it can be a very costly thing to repair. So, the sewer scopes typically, in the past year, I've seen them. A lot of inspectors will charge about $300, $350 to complete. So it is an expense, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're purchasing a home, it's definitely worth it for peace of mind because we have seen some issues here. Now, the other common big ticket item that we see in this area are roofs. Now, at this point, most of the roofs have been replaced. Typically, like if you're looking at a clay tile roof, the underlayment is actually what they replace. They don't necessarily replace the tiles unless they're cracked, but the underlayment lifespan, roofers will typically tell you 25 years. I have seen some homes that were about 30 years that were in still pretty good shape. But the thing about Arizona is we don't get a lot of precipitation. So often sellers are unaware the roof needs to be replaced. They're not going up into the attic. They don't see the water stains. And so often they have no idea until an inspection happens when someone's purchasing the home. So it is, a thing that can come up. And if you're touring a home and interested in putting in an offer, I would definitely ask the sellers if they've replaced it or if they know the age of the roof. And not all the roofs in this neighborhood are going to be those clay tile roofs. We do see some shingle roofs, which is not really, really common for Gilbert. This is one of the few neighborhoods that we'll see more of that. And if no one has walked you through the home buying process in Gilbert, I have a link below where you can actually schedule a call. I would love to chat with you and see if I can be a resource for you. Thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.